Change has come. It's at the door. Everything that was true isn't true anymore. In our hands is a broken crown, and the wars that we lose mean freedom now. Every ending is a chance, a chance, a chance. Every ending is a chance, a chance, a chance. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Let's dance into battle, start a revolution, turn the heartbreak into evolution. Like a phoenix rising from the ashes, from the ashes. Every ending is a chance, a chance, a chance. Every ending is a chance, a chance, a chance. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Keep marching on. 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 Every ending is a chance, a chance, a chance. Every ending is a chance, a chance, a chance. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Every ending is a chance to begin again. Every ending is a chance. Every ending is a chance to begin again.
The plan for living life, playing the game of life. Rules to the game of life. You will receive a body. You will learn lessons. There are no mistakes, only lessons. A lesson will be repeated until it is learned. Learning lessons does not end. There is no better than here. Others are merely mirrors of you. What you make of your life is up to you. Life is exactly what you think it is. Your answers lie inside you. You will forget all of this. You can remember it whenever you want. Mastering ourselves, being our best selves. My power, my control. Mind, body, soul, which is thoughts, wills, the things you say, and emotions. Principles: learn, grow, teach, help. Foundation: love, health, wealth, happiness. Rules: respectful, safe, responsible. Being a champion, one day at a time. Having accountability, accept responsibility for actions and performance. Culture, living our values, mastering ourselves, body, mind, soul. Excellence, being our best selves by efficiency and productivity. Leveling up in life, showing up for yourself, focus on yourself, core values, decisions, goals, and behavior. Live by, no excuses, take ownership, empower yourself to do better and be more for you. Many are here to help us be the best version of ourselves through learning and development. 2, I'm willing to do the work and you are willing to do the work. The first step to empowering you is creating a structure that helps you eliminate excuses through clarity of responsibility and process. Being a champion to create winning is by having a desire to be the best version of yourself and empowering you to do so daily. Having a better world that is a champion world is that it takes all of us. Everything is energy, vibration, and frequency, which is inside of us all and all around us. What is your energy? Low vibration or high vibration? Low vibration. Empathy, victim, helplessness, blame, negative self-talk, worry, hatred, anger, fear. High vibration. Hopefulness, courage, acceptance, happiness, self-love, gratitude, positive self-talk, trust, knowledge, abundance, forgiveness, unconditional love. Mastering ourselves. Lust, intense desire or craving, greed, excessive selfish desire. Gluttony, excessive consumption. Pride, excessive self-importance. Sloth, laziness, empathy. Envy, desiring what someone else has. Wrath, extreme anger. The unseen laws, spiritual laws you must respect. Core unseen laws. Law of reciprocity, which what you send out, energy, thoughts, actions, returns amplified. Law of authority. Spirits only respect those who know who they are. If you're confused, they dominate. Law of resonance. You attract what matches your vibration. Purity equals clear outcomes. Law of timing. Some doors open only in divine timing. Forcing it equals punishment or delay. Law of spiritual debt. Every lie, scam, or shortcut leaves a karmic invoice until it's paid by pain or repentance. It blocks flow. Law of access. Sharing sacred things with unworthy people gives dark forces access to you. Guard your spiritual intimacy. Law of sacred exchange. Don't ask for something from spirit world without giving something. Prayers, food, fire, service, truth. Law of hidden eyes. Even when no one is watching, you are seen. All thoughts and deeds echo in the spirit realms. Everyone will get exactly what they choose. 3D earth. Fear, division, anger, control, hate, AI. 5D earth. Love, unity, peace, freedom, healing, consciousness. This is the great awakening. If you knew how hard it was and how long it took to rebuild my little universe of peace and happiness, then you would understand why I'm so picky about who I allow in my life. Welcome, I'm Alisha Quinn, and today we are going to be talking about trauma bonding. And I am here to help people ascend on this ascension journey, we all have soul contracts for ascended masters contracts. Everyone does. And when you do your inner work, you search for answers within yourself, you will tap into that and connect with your soul to lead you on this journey of ascension. And, working on mastering myself, mastering my flesh, taking ownership over myself, my body, mind, and soul, my reality here, and truly leveling up in life, truly leveling up in life. And so just keep on quantum jumping. And so, as I go through this awakening journey, and we really don't even truly realize the trauma bondings that we're in and that we're going through. In fact, what I can see is that we're even born into it with those energies, having the victimized mentality, having the, complaining about life mentality, having, everyone's my enemy mentality. And that we are truly born into when we're born into those type of situations, you don't even know any better. Having even jealousy issues. Sometimes there's jealousy issues that happen between the parents, the mother and the daughter and things. And, those are very interesting patterns and cycles as well. And just looking at this trauma bonding thing, because when you end up rewiring your neurons, and you come out that I'm not a victim. I chose my journey. I chose my learning lessons and experiences. Now, maybe it's because you didn't learn from them in a past life. So you have to go into another life to learn them. And, and that's the thing, is that you dig a hole deeper and deeper in your karmic debt if you're not doing that inner work and healing and transmuting the energies. You just go deeper and deeper. And so when, you start a jealousy thing with, say, your daughter, then it's just, you're the rivals. They're your rivals, right? You're in this darkness. And if it's not dealt with, if it's not transmuted, if it's not forgiven and overcome, you got to go into another life to deal with it. And that's how the cycles just keep on going. And so, when you rewire those neurons and, to overcome it and to, break the cycles, be that generational curse breaker, break it, people, they really don't like it. It hurts them. It hurts their feelings when you change that consciousness of not being the victim. And it's emotional. It's emotional. And so we grow up with it, that emotional abuse, pity, poor me, poor me, poor you. And it just continues on. So then you meet someone, right? And you're like, hey, you know what? I was abused, right? And then they're like, I was abused too. And it starts this trauma bonding. You're both victims, you're both abused. You both have this background of abuse. Now, it's not anything to take away from the abusers, but in all reality, abusers are nothing more than the same patterns, because that's what really happens, is that in some sort of way you become an abuser yourself, sometimes with your own children yelling and screaming, right? This is abusive. And then you become this adult, and here you're doing the same thing because guess what? It was done to you. And that's really where breaking patterns and cycles really come in. Really facing yourself, right? Transmuting the energy into the forgiveness. Because when people get trapped in these cycles, sometimes they really just don't even know any better. It's just, this is the way we've done it, we're doing all this stuff to each other. So really, coming to, and the thing is that we have to break it. We have to be that one to break those cycles, to break the mind frames of, and that's what, like, even, the Rockefeller Covenant, which, we could put that to the side, but, you start right in the home where everyone ends up being your rival. Your spouse, your children, everyone's your rival. And then you can get to your parents, your siblings. Everyone ends up being your rivals. And that's how it spreads out into the world. Then you got this, then you got that. And, so it's a big trauma bonding mess going on, don't you think? You get religion, right? And religion, puts you in fear of going to hell, fear of Satan. And it's a trauma bonding. Fear is a trauma bonding. Even, you know, threats and stuff, if you don't do this, I'm gonna do this. And those are just cycles and things that we have to become aware of and really break ourselves. And when we break it ourselves, it will change our own lives and the lives of the people that are around us as well. But, as we grow and we evolve, we have to change those trauma bonding cycles. We have to change it. When, it's like I've healed from this. It's learning lessons. I learned, I grew, I evolved from it. I transmuted the energy. I changed the story. And that's part of it too, is that the same story keeps getting played out. And we project our fears out on our children even, and then we play that gig out. And so, it's trauma bonding is, even a lot more. And then, we end up doing it with our children. Oh, and so we have to break that trauma bonding, that change that story. That, hey, you know what? We came here to change things. We came here to flip this story. We chose to go through what we went through, not that not that it takes away what other people have done, yelling at us, screaming at us, and, flipping out over little things, right? Breaking your nose because you spilt a glass of milk, stuff like that, right? Trauma bonding stuff, right? And then, what happens is that, people feel guilty and then they're, oh, I'm sorry. And, they kind of love bomb you, right? And, maybe we've done the same thing when, we haven't acted right ourselves. And so the thing is that we have to be that change. We truly do. And, and truly to look at it that we're not all fully innocent. A child is innocent, but we end up getting trapped in this bondage of trauma and victimizing, right? And we end up victimizing each other. And when you truly look at that, abandonment issues and these type of things, right? That you end up doing it to each other. You have two people who um, were married, right? And now they're getting divorced. And it's, he did this, he did that, she did this, she did that. And the thing is that it's unhealed stuff, it's unhealed traumas. And when you live in those low vibration energies with fear, with shame, with guilt, with the judgmental stuff, right? Even, right? With complaining, right? You are creating this mess with each other, with each other. And that's the truth of the matter. And so we do end up having to take some responsibility and accountability for some of the things that do happen and go on. And that is emotional maturity and that is spiritual maturity, that we do have to take on some of that responsibility. Now, yes, have we been trapped in a reactive, abusive relationship? Possibly. That, very well could be. And, I was in that, right? But, I have to come to the point that I chose it, right? Because I didn't change it. I wasn't changing it. But I did come to a point where I am changing it. And so that's part of the thing is taking that ownership, accountability over it, And let's talk about like religion, right? Religion, the fear and the guilt, and it's still the same thing. It's still trauma bonding. It's still those neurons that say we're victimized by life, you know let's complain about each other, you know being judgmental, and it's just this still trauma bonding, right? See, once you shut down this stuff and you change your neurons and your own thinking, it truly changes those people who will talk to you and complain to you. And, because when you connect on that energetic frequency, you know, like I was abused when I was a kid. I was abused too. And so we are the ones who have to take that responsibility and accountability instead of continuing on with the pity party. And maybe it's harsh, maybe that's harsh. And it truly is not anything to take away from those abusers, because sometimes they really don't even know any better. They really don't. They're stuck in that bondage themselves. And, most, and the thing is that they end up being that way because they're a product of their own environments. And so, one of the best things that we can do is become aware of our own energy, our own thinking, our own thoughts, our own emotions, right? Am I living in fear? Am I getting this because of fear? But, and protecting yourself when someone comes along and says, "Oh, I think you're cute," and then, you talk to them, and then they say, "Well, I'm getting divorced," and then you mention, healing from trauma. See, this is where they try to get you right here, and then see, out of all the other things you mentioned about, like, you've healed from trauma, they don't talk about healing from the trauma. They want to talk about the trauma. Why do they want to talk about the trauma? Because they're traumatized. See, this is how these connections and these cycles continue on. So now they're like, "Oh, now, well, what happened to you, And yeah, can you go down that, "Oh, so and so did this," or you take the higher road and you say, "You know what? This person put me through hell, but you know what? It helped me to wake up to myself and to what was going on, and I changed." And I made the change. And you know what? I forgive that person because truly they didn't even know any better. And, they're dealing with their own mess. And you know what? I'm dealing with me and I'm changing me. And see, what happens is you get traumatized people too, right? In a situation like a divorce, or, they're heartbroken, right? And then they want to have this traumatized sex with you. And when you do that, now you're energetically exchanging all this crap. All the crap that you're holding on to, all the crap they're holding on to, this traumatized bonding thing that energetically you take on. You take on. And you may think that is woo woo, which, but I even had a woman tell me that she understood energy because she did not have suicidal thoughts, but she one time had a sexual encounter with someone, and all of a sudden she started having suicidal ideation thoughts. And she's like, "Do you have suicidal ideation?" And he was like, "Yeah, why?" See, energetically, you take that stuff on. You take that stuff on. And so we're going to go ahead and take a look here at what they say about trauma bonding. So, trauma bonding is a deep, unhealthy emotional attachment that develops between a victim and their abuser, often characterized by a cycle abuse followed by positive reinforcement or affection. It is driven by intermittent, unpredictable rewards and punishments, causing the victim to feel intense, replace loyalty or dependency on the perpetrator. So, that emotional attachment. And really, what ends up happening when you end up experiencing abuse, especially when you're a child, is you have this disconnection, right? And from yourself, from the trauma. And so now you're trying to get this, you end up attaching onto other people. And so you have this emotional attachment to those abusers that, we're the same. We have, we have the positive reinforcement, right? And then, it happens again, right? And these types of things where, the cycle isn't being broken. And really, some of that cycle is that energy of being victimized, of even telling the same stories, right? Because even sometimes what the abuser does is blame shift, right? Now you get this narcissist, you blame shift. You say, oh, well, if they weren't doing this, I wouldn't have done this. And so, but truly, it comes down to the energies and telling even that same story. Whatever story you're telling yourself, it has a way of playing out again until you transmute the energies and you truly let it go. Let it go. And so that's the thing, is taking that ownership, taking that accountability. Whether, you know, you're the one who reacted, or, you know, or you played that other role, right? Of being on the other end. And so, we really do have to come down to taking some of that ownership and accountability. Even looking at my own relationship, with my former husband, that, yeah, I did get pushed, right, to that point of flipping out, right? But still, I have to take that accountability. I was the one yelling and screaming too, and reacting to him, right? But see, when things started changing, and that's what happened truly, leading up to me leaving him, was energetically, I started shifting that energy and not reacting to him, saying like, okay, I'm done with this conversation. See, it plays a whole different game when you change that energy. And it's just this emotional cycle and addiction thing that we end up getting into, even with the drama of it. And, sometimes we're so tied into those things. It's a bondage. It's a bondage that we have to end up breaking from. We truly do. We have to break it. We have to break it to make the change for ourselves, our own lives, and even children, our children. So, signs of trauma bonding. Individuals in a trauma bonded relationship often display the following behaviors: rationalization, defending abuse, making excuse for the abuser's actions to friends, family, or themselves. And yeah, that is true. And the thing is that there ends up coming to where there is a lack of accountability. Religion plays a huge role in that lack of accountability. It truly does. That you can just push it off on some idol, Jesus Christ, that they're idolizing, and be forgiven. Even one of the things I seen is, oh, I'd rather ask forgiveness than permission, right? See, that is a cycle of something as well. Having, that mutual respect for one another and things like that. And so we end up in these just cycles of things, and even when you can't see it, I didn't see my former husband, how he really did treat women and was, really beneath him, right? And, and that's the thing, is having that superiority, as well. And they do control you, and the thing is that we give them permission to ultimately. We got to stop the trauma bondings, learn our lessons, break the cycles, and truly grow up. And so, the highs and lows cycle, experiencing intense, passionate highs, love bombing, followed by severe devaluations or abuse, and you end up in those cycles as well, that you know they do something one night and then the next day they bring you flowers, right? And so, the thing is that we have to end up balancing our own energies. We have to balance our own energies. And that's what I've come to learn is balancing my own energy as well. And so, um, we really have to, like taking that like no tolerance for BS, that you're not going to treat me disrespectfully, coming to love yourself even. Loving yourself, understanding your value as a person, and having that security within yourself, because it is true that we end up attaching to other people and having this dependency upon them, even financially, right? And that's some of the things, that's some of the reason why I didn't, leave my former husband as soon as I could, was partly because of the financials, right? And so that's why when we work on our consciousness and level up, the financial will take care of itself. Money is only energy. And so when we change that consciousness, change those energies, we shouldn't have to rely or depend upon anyone, you know? Trust the spirit. Truly trust the spirit of God, and many people will say that they are, but then they accept, BS stuff that they need to get out of, right? And I'm one of those people. I mean, I eventually did get out, but I, was like entrapped with this thing for a while. And some of it was the financial, was that dependency upon him as well. So, and I find that within the religion, you end up depending upon them, and breaking free from that as well. Like, well, what if I need help with something, right? See, sometimes it's like that, with people. What if I need help with something? They help us with money, they help us with moving, these people will help you with stuff, right? But what I truly came to find is that the Spirit always provides, always provides. And so when we truly come back to trusting the Spirit, trusting that divine Spirit that's even within us, that there is no one out here that I truly need, because Spirit always provides, always. And so walking on eggshells, being hypervigilant to avoid triggering the abuser. Now that is something I definitely have lived in most of my life, for sure. That if you do something or say something, they're gonna go off the hinges, flipping out, right? Yelling and screaming and things. And you know, truly one of the best things I have done is, cut the people out of my life and change my energy and work on my energy. And that's one of the best things that I've come down to. And, yeah, maybe I don't have a lot of people in my life, right? But when you change your energy and you transform, you will bring healthier people upon you. You will, when you declare within your energy that people are respecting you, people will respect you. You know, not having dependency upon others and those things. And so, you know, walking on eggshells is it unbalances your nervous system, you know, just being in fear of, okay, what if I do this and, they're going to flip out, And, I really went down a road where I had to see those people, including with my own mother. And it's harsh. But, ultimately, I felt like I was on eggshells with her too. And so, and maybe, it's energy, it's energy. And the thing is that when we don't work on our own energies, you end up being around people that are like that, And we have to work on our own energies for sure, And so, the thing is that, the question is, was I doing that to my own kids, Um, flipping out if, the dishes weren't done or, and this and that. And so the thing is that it does really come down to changing our own energies. It really does. Not to take away from the people who were doing that to us, right? Because sometimes we grow up in it and we just get those energies upon us and we do some of the same stuff ourselves. And that's really where it comes in of taking that ownership and taking that accountability for ourselves. And see, I can't take ownership and accountability over my mother and her own BS. I do know that she's just a traumatized mess. She's unhealed. But that's for her to deal with. And the thing is that the best thing I can do is cut that energy off because she's not willing to do the work, to change. And so, and that's what it really comes down to for me is that I'm the change. And I know that as my energy changes, it changes the energies around me and the people that do come around me. And, rejection is protection. See, sometimes it's best if somebody's not talking to you. I promise you. And so, because they just might be the person that, you're going to be stuck in some traumatized bonding with, right? And so, the best thing to do is to work on ourselves and heal and truly overcome those energies. Isolation, becoming detached from supportive support systems, and in some cases, forming a them against the world mentality. you know, and we do that a lot that, you know, even like the world is against us, and so that in religion they do that, right? Oh, the people, they're bad out there, they're all sinners, they're all they're all doing this stuff or whatever. But you know, some of that stuff is created because of their own stuff, their own judgments, and their own fears and stuff. And that's how the energy game is played. And that's the thing of coming to understand the energy game. That like I don't have um I don't hear stuff about transgender stuff at all anymore. I don't hear about it. Like it is non-existent in my world, in my reality here, you know? And sometimes I have through, spirit guides and things like that, through messages I get from like Facebook or whatever, that appear to be more on the, homosexual side or whatever, right? But the thing is that coming down to the fact that we have a free will to have the experiences that we want to have. Truly, And, sometimes people choose paths because of their own traumas, right? And we have to come to understand that. But truly, everyone is free to have the experiences that they want to have. And in this game, sometimes we need those people to play those roles to help us with our own energies of it. And that's the truth. And so um, gaining, that support with people and, I've had to really cut off a lot of people, but, Spirit always provides. And I, came to the state cutting everyone out, but truly I was given support systems. And, you know, um, people that really do look at, the whole world as being bad, right? And that's the thing is that as we change our consciousness and stuff, we have to end up taking accountability that everything that is out here, we have created. It's all our shadows. And so there's even a scripture in the Bible that says, even if it is meant for bad, that, we can use it for good, right? Whatever it is. And so we have to change that mentality to help us raise up our consciousness. Who are them? And that's the thing is that it's them, it's the government and things. But the thing is that when we don't understand and understand who we are, then other spirits do control and manipulate us. And that is spiritual law. And so we have to come to taking that, accountability and that responsibility and that ownership over ourselves, knowing that we are that divine being. And so, isolation, detaching from support systems, sometimes things aren't serving our highest good. And we do have to come to realize that as well. And the thing is that as we transmute and transcend our own energies to break those cycles, right? Change those energies, those low consciousness energies, right? And if you're in a low consciousness state, you'll have support people, and some people might try to cut you off from them. And they will, because they're trying to control and manipulate you. Okay? But we have to transcend our energies. And when we transcend them, and maybe we have to have some time to be alone and change our energies, we will be given the people that are going to support us, support the new you, that transformed you, that is not going to tolerate anyone's BS and become aware. And if somebody is still playing that victimized game, cut them out. You don't want to go down that road. You're not their savior, you know? And that's the thing. We have to come to understand that we're not going to save anyone either. Now, we can help each other. We can help each other. So, the best thing we can do is transcend our energies and get healthy minded individuals that are not stuck in the trauma bonding, victimized, complaining about life mentality. Because what happens when you're in the victim game is everybody playing the victim. You're all Everyone is your enemy. You're all each other's rivals. And that's the truth of the matter. It's the truth of the matter. You know, by me changing and cutting off, my family and things, guess what? They're victimized. They're victimized by it. You know, Alicia lost her mind and, then all of a sudden she changed her script. She's saying she's an angel and all this and that. We're victims here. We're Democrats. And we got to start letting go of all those identities as well because it's part of the bondage, it's part of the traps. And so I know that it might be harsh to hear this and take that ownership when you're playing that victim game, you know? And I played it for a long time too. And so, but it's the truth. When you're playing the victim, everyone else is playing the victim too. Everyone is your villain. Your children will victimize you, your family will victimize you, your spouse will victimize you. You'll be victimized by people in the church. The government victimizes you. We have to change our energies. And when we change our energies, it's going to change the world. And that's the truth. That's how we get past the trauma bondings. Is stop playing in other people's games. So, failed attempts to leave. Repeatedly trying to leave but returning due to guilt, fear, or a perceived trauma-driven attachment. This is something I've seen many, many times. And I am so grateful that when I left my former husband, I didn't go back. And it was a tough thing. It truly was. It was a tough thing not to go back to him. You know, it's it's not an easy thing to um be with someone day in and day out, even if it's horrible, right? Even if you're miserable, even if you're fighting all the time. It's tough to go from waking up to them in the morning to laying down and going to sleep with them at night, to totally detaching yourself from them and no longer having any of that in your life. It's it is a tough thing. And it's tough choosing yourself and your own life in your own way instead of going back to that mess. You know? Because, a lot of times they'll say they'll tell, "Oh, what do I need to work on? I'll do it this time," you know? You've given them plenty of chances to change and do it, and that guilt sometimes, now my children don't have a father in their life all the time, right? And just stuff like that. The fear, what am I going to do financially, you know? But let me be the way to show you that if you go through it and you change your energies, it will change things for you. you know, Learning to truly love yourself, not going down the path of getting involved with someone else again, right? And I did the whole Ronald thing, right? But I was healing from that. I was freeing myself from some stuff too. And if that's a road that you have to go down, that's up to you to decide. But, you know, I have seen so many times where women will turn back and go back to these men too many times. And I know that sometimes it's the women doing it. Really. It is the women doing it too. Women do it too. And, some women will push a guy's button, and some women will be abused by every man. Okay. And sometimes women will end up with a man who's never physically hit a woman, but a particular woman, she will push and push and push and push that man until he does put his hands on her like that. And it's just an energy thing. It truly is. It's unhealthy and stuff, right? And so, I'm not bashing men, but and sometimes men do the same thing too. They'll go back to that woman and be, oh, I'll change this time. You know, I'm changing. And the thing is that, one thing that I really heard is that when you're on like level one, level A, right? And that it's all energy, it is energy, you know. Um, you give too much sometimes, and this person is a taker, take, 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 right? See, you got to change those energies. You got to say, hey, you know what? I'm setting some limits here and boundaries. I'm not gonna be over giving while I'm getting breadcrumbed over here. We got to change those energies. Now, from the information that I've seen, that like when you get to level two, level B, and both of you have to do it. Both of the people have to put that inner work in on and say, you know what? I'm setting some boundaries here. I'm not going to overgive. I'm not going to tolerate someone's bullshit, right? They're going to respect me. And if they don't respect me, I choose myself. I'm not going to abandon myself. They're out the door. And the other person has to say, you know what? I gotta um treat others as myself. I don't know how the abuse, that side, but I need to give more, right? I need to give instead of taking, right? And whatever it is that they have to come to, you know, comprehend and do their inner work. You know, they're still unhealed. That's the point. Is unhealed, the low consciousness energies, like um really leveling up, not being an avoidant, right? Avoidance and anxious attachment styles, they connect, because one's looking for this connection and the other one runs, they're avoiding it. They don't want to be trapped. And a lot of them, they end up cheating because of it. And so they're unhealed. We're unhealed and we got to heal. We have to transcend the energies. And so once two people get to that level B, they could possibly have a healthy relationship, right? But we have to take that ownership and responsibility of being healthy ourselves, not projecting our fears out, right? Oh, what if they cheat on me and stuff? When you project those negative things, they have a way of playing out for you. Oh, he'll never change, he'll never do this, he'll never, and that's what you get. That's what you get because you put the energy out. It was very interesting because I was reading this thing just recently that said that these two people were in a divorce and this man wanted something and he's fighting the woman for this thing. But he changed his energy. He shifted his energy and he just surrendered to it. He just And that's the thing is sometimes we're holding on to these energies, even resentments and different things. And when you change your energy, the other person will change. And that's what happened in this situation was he changed his energy and he surrendered to it and said, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. And because he changed his energy, she not only gave him the item, but she paid to have it shipped to him or whatever, you know. Like she totally did this flop. And so sometimes it's truly our own energies feeding off of each other. And that's really what it comes down to. That's really the truth of the matter is that it's our own energies, our own fears, even, and that we're fighting for something. And when you really come to just surrender and just let it go, it is amazing that things change and you change your energy, you change your thinking, you know? When you say they're going to do me wrong, why are you surprised when they're doing you wrong? You know? So we have to come to taking accountability and ownership over things as well. We really do. And that energetically, they play their part. They play their part. And, you know, that's really the truth of the matter. And so I know this is a harsh lesson about trauma bonding and stuff, but I really had to come to see the energies of it with myself. And so, and I was there, you know, fighting for things, you know, and, you know, I really went down a road that when I surrendered to things, when I let things go, that it was amazing that things just kind of worked out, and it really did. So, and then, you know, sometimes we hold on to things so tightly, you know, it's like having a hot coal in your hand, you know, you're holding on to it for dear life, wanting it to be a piece of gold, when if you let it go, it will turn into gold. So, unhealthy sympathy. Developing feelings of sympathy or affection for the abuser despite the harm caused. Well, you know, we have to come to forgive, right? And we have to understand they got their own baggage of shit they're dealing with. And they do, you know? And so, you know, we felt sorry for Robert, you know, we felt sorry for him that he was such a jackass that he lost his whole family, you know, his whole family left because of him being such a jackass. But truly, it was his worst fear too. And again, it goes back to those energies, you know, it's not to, you know, condone what he was doing and things. But energetically, it was a feeding ground. And we have to become aware of our own energies and the energies that are around us. We truly do. It's all energy. And when we, you know, quit those low frequency, low consciousness energies, it's going to change our life out here. You know, that heaven and hell, right? It's all energies, you know? And so we have to, you know, come to really realize that we both were unhealthy, you know? We both were unhealthy. And so you know, I can't take that responsibility for him, you know. He had to do it and he didn't do it, you know, knowing that he's just going to go into another life. And, you know, that's partly why I speak against religion, because religion's not going to save you from your own energies. It's not going to save you from your fear. You know, if nothing more, it's going to create more for you, or guilt or shame. And so um, we have to, break the bonds of the world systems that we have entrapped ourselves in as well. And those are bondages. And they are bondages. Um, blame shifting our troubles even onto the government. We have to take that ownership because anything that is done is because of our own energy, anyways, our own energies. And so you're trauma bonding with them. Oh, they're gonna do this. They're doing this. They're doing that. They're against us. And guess what happens? They do exactly what you say, you know? They do exactly what you say. And so we have to change, you know? Starts individually and then it will spread collectively, you know? So we have to change our own energies, and going through stuff like this is good to be aware, right? Aware, but at the end of it is all energy and frequency anyways. And maybe some people won't like that because they don't want to face themselves and they don't want to heal, but you'll still continue going through the same BS. And that's fact. It's fact. If you don't change your energy, if you don't heal, you'll continue going through the same thing, including with the government. I don't even know why the government's here. All the bullshit that they've supposedly done, you know? But the thing is that there's a way consciously to get out of it. Just like religion, consciously, you have to free yourself from it. No difference than the abuser that you had to free yourself physically, but consciously as well. You know, are you going to let them hold on? Are you going to hold on to that energy, hold on to all that they did and repeat the same cycle? Or are you going to heal and say, I take accountability and responsibility. I was yelling and screaming too. I was being reactive. I had no control over my emotions. And I'm in this reactive, abusive relationship that, had drama. And then, I could go tell everyone my problems and, pity party me, and just keep on going with the cycle or break the cycle, break the cycle, you know? And maybe you're going to lose some people and some places and things. But if you want to evolve and, find a better way and a better path, you have to put that inner work in. You have to change it. You have to change those energies. So, 7 stages of trauma bonding. Trauma bonds often develop through Pacific progressive stages. Love bombing, intense early affection and charm that builds trust. And, that's one of the things to really come to is people proving their trust to you, not just giving it away. And that's one of the things that I came to do, especially with religion, was trusting everyone. I was trusting, oh, we're part of this group and we're all forgiven and we're all doing this. And that wasn't the case. And that's one of the things that, being picky with your energy and really being aware. And, really when you raise up that, consciousness and you can see clearer, you're connected with yourself and you have this intuition within yourself, then it's a lot easier to see the energies and see, oh, get it. This person's still playing the victim game. That's not the road I want to be on. I'm not the victim of my life, you know, and everything is working for me. So you change your energy, you can see the ones that are in dense energies. That's all that it is, dense energies. They're living, their pain and suffering out, and only they can change it. But, you know, taking your time. And that's what happens when you're in oh, I need someone. I have to be with someone. Because we end up that way. Oh, I want this connection with someone when you don't have the connection within yourself. And then you're like, oh, somebody come along. Oh, oh, they're in the middle of divorce. Oh, they're gonna love me. And, sometimes we have to go through some of those lessons. We really do. Sometimes you just like you have to go through it. You got to learn the lesson so you can change. So, trust and dependency. The victim becomes reliant on the abuser, and that's right. You do. You end up being where I need them, and sometimes they're the same way. I need, sometimes it's a mutual thing, that, they're you know they need your energy, they need your attention, they need you to need them even, right? And so you end up having this dependency upon them. And I trusted Robert way too much. I didn't notice the red flags of things, several things, so, and that's the thing when we change our energies and we end up being able to read energy a lot better because it's all energy. So, criticism. The abuser begins subtle, then overt criticism to lower the victim's self-esteem. And, that's the thing, with being a people pleaser as well. And then it's like, oh, uh, this isn't good. And then you're trying to, try to make things good, to please them, right? And then it's like, oh, this isn't good, and you're just constantly, trying to please them. And truly, it's within themselves. They're not happy with themselves, they're not pleased with themselves. And so, um, that, you know, it just lowers your self-esteem, and it's just a trap still, it's just this energetic trap, because then they'll love bomb you after it, and say, oh, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me, and and on and on. So manipulation and gaslighting, the abuser distorts the victim's reality, and and that's true when, it's like, oh, you're doing this, and then you're like, wait a minute, like, am I doing this? And then you see that they're doing it, that and so, and that's the thing is that, people put their projections off on you. And that's why, it's really good to ask someone like, what do you see in me, right? Because usually they're only going to see in you what they see in themselves, So if they're like, you're controlling, guess what? They're controlling, right? And maybe I had my own control issues, right? That I had to deal with. But, you know, we have to, you know, I'll say it again and again. We gotta heal, we gotta change our energy to make the changes out of trauma bonding. You know, we'll never end up with something different until we heal, until we raise those energies and the frequencies. When we truly forgive, when we truly let go, and that's the truth of it. It's the truth. I mean, and you know, it didn't work for me continuing on, Oh, I'm a victim, I was abused, I'm blah blah blah, and you just keep on going. So, I changed things. I'm changing the script. I'm changing it. I am doing it. I worked on my healing, and I know that it's all energy. It's all energy. So resignation, giving up. The victim loses their sense of self and accepts the abuser. And, that's part of the thing about your identity being tied to your abusers, right? I'm a Christian. I'm part of this Church of Christ, and yeah, I'm Robert's wife, and is part of your identity and you don't even know who you are without this stuff. And that's the thing when you break free and you start searching for yourself, within yourself, just like Christ taught, that kingdom of God within, that you find yourself. you know we search and search for ourselves out here by all these identities that we're going by, but it's within. It's within, you know? And so we have to learn our energies, transmute those energies, find ourselves, have the experience that we want as the divine being, or, you know, continue going on the path of pain and suffering, others controlling us. So, but giving up, I would play that game too, where it's like I'm on strike and, and this and that. And it's just, part of the drama, part of the chaos, which is just a low consciousness. It's just part of the low consciousness game. So, loss of self. The victim's identity becomes defined by the abuser. That's right, you lose yourself. You lose yourself within them, you know, that you're just in this entanglement and tied in to them. And, um, even with like the religion, even with the government, and you don't know who you are. You don't know how you're going to survive without, being entrapped and attached to these people, places, and things. And it's really something to come out of it and break free from it, that, declaring your sovereignty as a divine being, taking that power and ownership over yourself, your life, your reality, your body, your mind, your soul, you know, and um who am I? Who am I? You know? Search for those answers within yourself because self-discovery is truly a gift when you come to uh, know and understand who you truly are. And so, addiction to the cycle. The victim becomes dependent on the intermittent reinforcement of the relationship. You know, and that's the thing is it is an addiction cycle, you know, and we end up in those addiction cycles to all kinds of things, people, places, and things. And when you come to truly detach from everything and connect to it, it is really a whole new, different experience that this is here for me at this time to serve my highest good at this time. But this is just temporary. That down the road, I'm going to be in a completely different place. And it's very interesting. I just heard something recently of the stranger rule, which was, I think it's a very good one to teach our children, because I do not believe in being afraid of strangers. We need to change our energy and frequencies and know that everything is a learning lesson and learn the lessons and grow, right? Let's not be trapped in fear and fearing other people because we can learn from them. If we're in fear and we think bad things are going to happen to us, yeah, those people will come in, teach us those lessons and do those things that we've, projected out, our fears, But when we change our energies, again, it's a whole new game. So the stranger rule is that the people that are in our life right now, then in 5 years, they'll be strangers. And it's the truth, And that's the thing. People come and go, but we have such attachments on people, and we end up, being afraid to let them go, to, you know, speak our truth, right? I mean, when I went down the conspiracy road, I was so afraid to share some of that information that I was getting, right? And all it is a different timeline, is a different, channel, it's a different frequency, right? And it's just, for me, it was just part of the process of waking up, right? And so um we end up in, the cycles of this addiction of things and holding on to people and not, learning the lessons and moving on. And that's the thing when something has served its purpose, right? And sometimes we're forced into it like a job, right? All of a sudden, you don't have the job anymore. That's like ripping the band-aid off, right? It's no longer going to serve your purpose anymore. And we get, victimized by it, We were attached to the place, right? And that's the thing about connecting is that I'm only here for as long as I'm meant to be here for this to serve its purpose. And as I change, this out here should change. If this out here is not changing, you're not changing, you know, including your music, you know, music should change, you should get that new song that says, yes, this is right where I'm at. This is very fitting for me at this time. Now, maybe a year ago, this wouldn't have, you know, been fitting for me, but where I'm at today, this is fitting for me. And so things should change, as we are really evolving. If we're doing the same thing and we have the same people in our lives, we're stuck, we're stagnant. And so, you know, break the chains, evolve. It's up to us. And it's up to us to stop the trauma bondings. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at a picture here and have some questions and answers, and I'll do a conclusion. Many of your friendships may be rooted in trauma bonds, which is why they often fail to support your growth. These relationships thrived on shared struggles and weaknesses, creating an emotional attachment that can be hard to break. However, as you grow and heal, you become less entangled in these dynamics. Your progress means they can no longer attach to your vulnerabilities, leading to a rift in the relationship. It's essential to recognize these patterns and surround yourself with people who genuinely support your evolution and well-being. I thought that picture was a little informative, and sometimes, that really does end up including family, especially at this time when people aren't, willing to grow and evolve, you know, we have to cut those ties, cut those contracts because we're elevating when they're not elevating. And it might be the most challenging thing that you ever have to do, but choosing yourself and your evolvement, it is truly worth it to find that self-love and, your purpose and things like that, and whatever it is, whatever your purpose is. you know, but truly finding yourself. And once you connect to yourself and that spirit, the divine mind, the consciousness of things, it it truly is just something else, you know? Like you truly are never alone. Like when you truly understand that the energy and the spirit is all around you, you know, go outside, look at the trees and the birds, you know, and they're not worried about anything. They're not fretting over anything. And it's just really a whole new story, a whole new beginning when you know, elevate and raise up that consciousness and things and come to seeing how you're not alone. Spirit always protects you. Spirit always got your back. And the only things that really happened to you was because of your own energies. And that's just how the game works. That's how spirit works. Saying, well, you know, this is what you want to, you know, be your energy and this is what you will get. And I know it's a harsh lesson. I had to learn too. So letting go of people, places, and things when you want to break free from those trauma bondings is something you have to do. We're going to go ahead and ask a few questions here. How do you break a trauma bond? Acknowledging the unhealthy dynamic, seeking professional therapy like trauma-focused therapy, establishing strict boundaries, including no or low contact, building a strong support system, prioritizing self-care, and focusing on personal growth to reclaim your identity outside the abusive relationship. What does it mean to be trauma bonded to someone? A strong, unhealthy emotional attachment a person develops with their abuser, characterized by a cycle of abuse mixed with intermittent kindness, making it hard to leave. Can you be trauma bonded without abuse? Trauma bonding typically involves psychological abuse, which can occur without physical abuse. Psychological abuse aims to manipulate, control, and undermine a person's well being and sense of self worth. What makes trauma bonds so powerful? They are rooted in the victim's desperate need for a safe and secure attachment. So, you know, my conclusion really is about trauma bonding is that we do have to come to take accountability, responsibility for ourselves and finding that security within ourselves. And that's, you know, part of it. You know, we're trying to find this safe, secure thing and attachment, and we're not finding it, even within the world systems. And when I would say world systems, I mean government and religion. They're the world systems. And so we, you know, find that safety and that security and attachment within all these people, places, and things instead of within our own selves. Not healing from our own traumas. And maybe you grew up with some gunky BS, right? And then, you know, what happens is we continue the same cycles. We end up in this lower consciousness mind. You know, you got two minds going on. You got the ego mind, low consciousness, or you got the divine mind, which is higher consciousness. And so we have to come to taking that accountability and responsibility for our own healing, no matter what anyone else has done, you know, because ultimately they are a product of their own environment. You know, some people go down to, use other people, right? And some people go down the road to please other people. And so there's just two different roads that people go on, and then they feed off of each other's energy. And so once you change your own energy and elevate, setting those boundaries, cutting off the people who are stuck in those energies still, who are not going to change. If you feel like you're walking on eggshells with them because they're going to flip out, maybe it's time for you to cut them out of your life. And maybe it's going to be the hardest thing that you ever fucking do. But I'm going to tell you, you will find a strength within yourself, to reclaim yourself, reclaim your identity, grow, um, finding you that, finding your own self-worth, finding, that spirit that's within yourself. And when you do your inner work and you heal and you transmute those energies and you raise up, you will unlock spiritual gifts, having clarity, having seeing things, having your visions, having psychic abilities, even abundance codes within you. You have this stuff within you that's clogged up because of your own energies. Being in the low consciousness energies, complaining clogs up your energies. And so, uh, when we forgive, when we transmute that energy, transcend it, and it's up to us, it's up to us to continue being trapped in the same cycles, in the same nonsense, or to change. And, I'm going to tell you this, weak men, they like weak women. They do. A weak man will never be with a woman who's strong. So if you are a woman, rise up. Put that work in on you. I seen a thing just last night said, if women don't change, lower their standards. If women don't lower their standards, they're going to be happy and have this and have that. And, guess what? You will do better on your own. Promise. I promise. You put that work, you put that love into yourself. Start giving to yourself. Give to yourself. Love yourself. Love yourself how you should be loved, how you should be treated. And it's going to be a whole different world for you. It's going to be a whole new game for you. And is it going to take the work to change, to transmute that energy? Yeah, it is. But imagine where you'll be if you did it for 3 months, if you did it for 6 months, if you did it for a year, if you did it for 2 years. You'll be in a completely different place. And isn't that better than pouring into some jackass who's going to treat you like garbage and not treat you with the respect and keep you in an emotional, traumatized cycle, of reactive abuse, not loving you like you should, cheating on you, and on, not protecting the energies? He's not even protecting his energy when he's screwing around, then there's the mind thing and the thoughts and projecting all this stuff off on you. And so the best thing that we can do for ourselves to stop the trauma bondings is to choose ourselves and to heal. And maybe that seems like the most selfish thing you'll do. But the thing is that when you fill your cup, you can give to others. What happens really is we're like trapped in the airplane thing, right? where, you got to put on your own oxygen mask so that you can truly pour in and truly, teach people something, you know? Once you change your energy, you can help others change their energy. You can be that light worker and, you know, be part of the higher mind, the higher plan of things, and truly be a change for this world. And nobody can stop us from doing such a thing. Not the worldly systems out there, none of it. That we can help people with changing their energies no matter where they're at. No matter where they're at. And once it's just that little bit of change, then all of a sudden it will be a big change. And this world is changing. This world is changing because we're waking up to the stuff and the trauma bondings. And we're part of creating, some of the stuff going on. And so when you truly come down to being present, being in the moment, that nothing exists except for what is here at this moment of time. And so we have to change our energies so that we can be the change for this world. And those things that we create within our own mind by, worry, fears, all this thing, it will start to drop off. When you keep yapping the same thing, you get the same results. So we have to break the cycles. We have to break the trauma bondings. We have to change. We have to change things for our own lives, our own worlds. And the best thing we can do for ourselves and the people around us, our children or whatever, is to take that ownership and responsibility and break those trauma bondings, the fear, the guilt, the shame, the victimizing. It's just energy feeding off of each other. And so our energy is our currency. And so, we choose. We choose what we put our energy on, what we put our focus on. And so choosing ourselves will help us to truly make the difference in this world. It truly does. It's not in a selfish kind of way, and maybe some people will take it that way. But the thing is that, people people will think like you're arrogant because you're confident, right? When they need that confidence. That's what they need from you. And, that's the thing about like loving, you can't like someone or hate someone unless it's something within yourself. So that's the thing is that you might think someone's arrogant when they're confident and you need that confidence. And that's the thing about changing those energies of being confident, being secure within yourself and your life and your journey. It's really just a whole different game. And so it's nothing to take away from the abusers and things, but we are the only ones who can stop the abuse from going on. Because a lot of times it is that cycle, that repeating the same story and on that we have to learn to break. And that's, maybe this is a harsh lesson about trauma bonding, but raising up my energy and stuff, it is what I have come to truly learn is that it is my own energy. And that, you know, when you're guilty about stuff, you're going to end up something again that you feel guilty over. You'll react to something, you'll feel guilty over it, on and on. And so it's up to us. It's up to us. It's about spiritually growing up really, spiritually growing up to master ourselves, you know, master those energies, you know, and nobody's going to do it for us. Nobody's going to save us from it. You know, what you put out, you get back. And that's really how the energy game works. And so if you think that bad things are going to happen to you, it will continue to happen to you. But when you start thinking only good things are going to happen for you, it will change, And maybe you got to go like this, write out all the chaotic BS that you've been, fretting over. Go like this, and this out here will change. So that's what I've learned. So we can forgive. That's higher consciousness. Forgive. Let them go. If they don't want to change, let them go on their own journeys. And they'll create whatever it is that they are, creating for themselves. Let them go. Religious people, they've been projecting a whole lot of stuff out on themselves, persecutions and everything. You know, when it comes down to it, it's that ego mind. We are our worst enemy, and we are the only ones who will save us. And that's truth. But we have the power to take our power back from those, ones ruling over us, who want our power and stuff. Only we can take our power back. Um, Living in peace and unity. And unity is that uniting of body, mind, and spirit, you know? And once you do that, then you come to see that everyone is just part of this divine orchestration, even, right? Freeing yourself of those identities, truly finding yourself. And only you can do it. I could only do Alisha. And I share this only to help and teach other people so they can learn and grow. But, we have to let go of things. We have to let go of people and learn our own energies if we want our lives to change, if we want that heaven on earth, and it is within us. You're either, living in heaven, living in hell. Maybe you're in between. Maybe sometimes it's really good and then sometimes it's not good. But we rule this game. We rule it, and we can choose to be secure, have fulfillment, have real true happiness, and let go of the past, live in the moment, freeing ourselves from the bondages. We manifest our own life, our own reality with our energy. If you don't think it's going to work, guess what? It's not going to work for you. If you don't think it's going to happen for you, guess what? It's not going to happen for you. So only we have the power to change our lives. And as we change our lives and our reality, we can change the collective reality of this world. It's us. It's us who are creating everything, because out here is just our shadows from our energy, from, our unhealed wounds, even. You know, when you have abandonment issues, you'll be abandoned. And so we have the power to change it, have that new beginning, because life is a dream, and life is a dream. So, are you living your dream life? What are you willing to give up and let go of to be that person that you want to be and to live the life that you deserve? Because nobody will do it for you. And so I'm grateful that I have elevated, that I have learned, I've grown so very much. and that I can serve a purpose to whoever it is that I am meant to serve the purpose for. I truly have come to surrender and fully trust Spirit, and I know that the ones that are meant to learn and grow from me will find me. And that's the truth. And I'm grateful for anyone who is listening and learning and growing and evolving. And you don't have to agree with me with everything. Just take what you can get, and maybe you can sit there and empower yourself and say, you know what? I don't agree with you, Alisha. What that? And it's okay. I've done that. Sometimes I'll find myself where it's like, well, maybe I do agree with that now, as I evolve. So it's okay. But if you want help with healing, you can reach out to me. My links and my email are in the bio. I'm, willing to help people with give it some guidance on inner work and healing and taking back your power, from those outside forces, really. So enjoy life, enjoy your day. It's yours. It's free will. You create the life and the reality and the experience that you want. So enjoy it and love it. Whatever role you're playing, learn to love it. And remember, one of the rules of the game is there's no better than here. So love where you're at because you did create it. And there isn't no better if you don't change where you're at here. When you get there, you'll still be miserable unless you change it. So we got to change it, and love it. So love the life, love the journey, love the experience. And when we get to the ocean, you're going to be like, this is just fabulous, but I was fabulous going down the river, to get there. So I'm going to play this song, which I found was very fitting for this one, I think, is Your Scars Are Beautiful. I got a lot of scars from, this war of this life. But I have truly come to find my inner beauty for sure. And it's a gift, truly. Love you.
Most people don't realize this, but we're not all living in the same reality. We're all walking this earth, but we're living in different dimensions. When you're in the lower dimensions, you believe in a God outside of you. You say things like, thank you, Jesus, and thank you, God, up there. And that's okay, because that's the level you're at. It's part of the journey. But when you go through a Kundalini awakening, when your spirit truly begins to rise, something shifts. You don't just believe in Christ, you become aware of the Christ within you. You stop thanking something outside of you, and you begin to awaken to the power that was always inside you. Christ consciousness isn't about religion. It's a frequency, a higher awareness. It's when you realize God lives in you. You see, people argue because they live in different dimensions, and they don't understand each other. Some still live in the 3D where everything is fear, control, separation. You're over here trying to speak light, truth, oneness, and they look at you like you're crazy. That's because you're not speaking the same language of consciousness. When you awaken, you rise. You begin to see the world through God's eyes, not man's. And that's why we say not everyone will get you. Not everyone is supposed to, because not everyone has risen yet. But your job is not to prove it, your job is to live it. Let your vibration speak louder than your voice. Thank you for following us at Awakening the Empaths, where truth is spoken without fear.
She just wants to be beautiful. She goes unnoticed. She knows no limits. She craves attention. She praises an image she prays to be sculpted by the sculptor. Oh, she don't see the light that's shining deeper than the eyes can find it. Maybe we're made of blind, so she tries to cover up her pain and cut her woes away. 'Cause cover girls don't cry after the face is made. But there's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, see you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. Oh, she's starving, you know. Cover girls eat nothing, she says. Beauty is pain and there's beauty in everything. What's a little bit of hunger? I can go a little while longer. She fades away, she don't see her perfect, she don't understand she's worth it. All that beauty goes deeper than the surface. Oh, oh. So to all the girls that's hurting, let me be your mirror, help you see a little bit clearer, the light that shines within. There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are, and you don't have to change a thing. The world could change, it's hard. No scars, see you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. Oh, and you don't have to change a thing. The world could change, it's hard. No scars, see you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. No better you than the you that you are. No better life than the life we're living. No better time for you shine, you're a star. Oh, you're beautiful. Oh, you're beautiful. There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are, and you don't have to change a thing. The world could change, it's hard. No scars, see you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful. Oh, and you don't have to change a thing. The world could change, it's hard. No scars, see you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful.
You ain't got a chance. Trying to go to war with the champ. Trying to go back, but you can't. Now it's only one king, I'm the man. Anybody wanna step to the plate? Better go and get one thing straight. I don't freeze and I won't hesitate. Matter of fact, y'all been running in place, can't run from your fate. Who's gonna stop me? 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 Yeah, who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? So electrical, charged up, shocking every second like a billion volts. Now we hyperactive, you don't want no static. I was born for battle, finger on the pulse. Y'all paper plastic while I go Jurassic. So far from average, running with the raptors like a slay Goliath, steady moving silent. So in other words, I am the boss. Who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? I am the boss. Who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? Yeah, who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me? I just look at the world, such a sight to behold. Most of the stories will never get told. Been on my own for so long, I don't know what else to do, pray I don't lose my soul. Walking through fire till I'm numb to the coast. Coming for everything, diamonds and gold. Nothing to lose, all in my control. And I'm about to go savage, so don't say I won't. And I'm destined for greatness. Ain't no fabrication, ain't no time for waiting. Super fundamental, I can see them hating. Ain't a scrimmage, steady winning. I ain't quitting from the start to finish. Been in motion, this is physics. Never slowing, never getting with it. I ain't quitting from the start to finish. And I gotta wonder, really fine slipping in. Who's gonna stop me? 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 Yeah, who's gonna stop me? Who's gonna stop me?